Alrighty, guys, we're back for Lumbering Kona, and this is an Aetherdrift standard brew, and I'm Redcat. Let's briefly go over the deck, then hop right into some ranked. But first things first, this was a suggestion down in the comments, so thank you so much for the suggestion. It's gonna be a fun one. We have all four Lumbering Worldwagons, 3 mana, crew for 4 vehicle. Crew for 4 is pretty steep, right? But its power is equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever this vehicle enters or attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Not bad ramp, especially on turn 2 off of a Llanowar Elves or something, right? All 4 Llanowar Elves making the cut should be excellent in here. Like I said, crew for 4 is steep, so what's our favorite way to crew this? Kona, Rescue Beastie. 4 mana, 4/3 legendary creature has survival. At the beginning of your second main phase, if Kona is tapped, you may put a permanent card from your hand onto the battlefield. Permanent card, huh? So what I'm hearing is it doesn't have to be a chunky creature. It could also be a chunky planeswalker. We got a couple Nissa Ascended Animist here on the top end. Ought to do the thing nicely. We also have some chunky creatures too, though. Darksteel Colossus making the cut as a one of. We'll see if this does the thing today. Couple Vaultborn Tyrants. I would have played with more Vaultborn Tyrants, but I don't have more, unfortunately. Oh no, hopefully 2's enough. And then we have a couple Ghalta Primal Hungers here on the top end too. What's neat about Ghalta, first of all, 12 mana, 12/12, trample, okay, but it costs X less to cast, where X is the total power of creatures you control. In this deck list, I don't think it's going to be unheard of at all to get this incredibly cheap, maybe even just double green. What's neat about playing Ghalta with vehicles is if you have multiple vehicles and you crew up the first one, you can use the second vehicle or the first vehicle to crew up the second vehicle, right? So you're just kind of getting a whole bunch of power onto the board all of a sudden. Or at that point, I guess it was already on the board, you're just screwing them up, but you guys know what I mean, right? We do have other vehicles packed into Thunderous Velocipede, only as a one of. I'm not going to take the time to actually read it right now. Also, all those top-end dinos ought to pair nicely with this little dino. It's a Regal Imperiosaur, not so little actually. 3 mana, 5/4 is no joke. Other dinosaurs you control get +1/+1. It's definitely chunky enough to crew up a Lumbering Worldwagon. Also, there's more dinos on the top end I didn't even go over yet. Agonasaur Rex making the cut as a 2 of. Ought to do the thing nicely. How about more top-end planeswalkers too? Vivien Reid. I wouldn't mind cheating Vivien onto the board off of a Kona. But also, I wouldn't mind just paying 5 mana for Vivien either. So, Oviya, Automech Artisan. Oviya? Yeah, something like that. This is another way to actually cheat out our top-end creatures. So this is a 4 mana, 1/2 legendary creature. Each creature that's attacking one of your opponents has trample. That's kind of important. Now, for 1 green mana, you can tap it. You may put a creature or vehicle card from your hand onto the battlefield. If you put an artifact onto the battlefield this way, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on it. So you could also, I guess, put one of your vehicles onto the board too, like the Thunderous Velocipede or the Lumbering Worldwagon, which I guess putting a couple +1/+1 counters on those is kind of no joke, right? I brought up trample being important. Yeah, Lumbering Worldwagon not having trample, that could be detrimental, especially if your Lumbering Worldwagon is getting super lumbering with a whole bunch of forests on the board, right? There's other ways to give it trample in here, Drover Grizzly being one of them. It's a 3 mana 4/2, has saddle for 1. Whenever this creature attacks while saddled, creatures you control gain trample until end of turn. Okay, not bad. I mean, Llanowar Elves can go ahead and saddle this up, so we'll see. Also, it doesn't say other creatures too. It just says creatures you control, so it does give itself trample. I do like that it's 4 power as well, so even if you're not giving your Lumbering Worldwagon trample for the turn, you can still tap down the Drover Grizzly to crew up the Lumbering Worldwagon, which is pretty important, isn't it? Okay, how about some removal? A couple Hunter's Talent, also level 2 here. Another way to give trample to the Lumbering Worldwagon. 3 hard-hitting question, making the cut. I suppose this could be your fight or bite spell of choice. I think hard-hitting question is going to be excellent, though. We also have 3 Defend the Rider. So this is a 1 green mana, instant speed. You get to choose one of these. Target permanent you control gains hexproof and indestructible until end of turn, which could really come in handy because Kona's going to have a huge target on its back. Bottom ability, though, again, you get to choose one of these. Create a 1/1 colorless pilot creature token with this token saddles, mounts, and crews vehicles as though its power is 2 greater. So that pilot will be able to crew up the Velocipede. It will not be able to crew up the Lumbering Worldwagon because crew for 4 is so expensive, but you might use that pilot in a Llanowar Elves to go ahead and crew up the Worldwagon. So now only 22 Forest Packet because I think that the ramp from the Worldwagon and the early ramp from Llanowar Elves should be enough. So hopefully 22 Forest is fine. We might talk about going up more forests at some point. Okay, honorable mentions, guys. Stable Master almost made the cut. Head Shredder was a card I thought about. Other top end like Tyrannix Rex could have been cool. And Wild Rose almost made the cut too. Just opting for the forest this time round. Guys, I do my dandiest to save the more in-depth discussion for the end of the video, and sometimes I fail too, so either way, let's go ahead and take this into some ranked, see how we do. All right, we'll see if we can get right into that first game. In the meantime, what am I expecting from the build? I think it's going to be decent. I don't want to say I think it's going to be excellent, but I also don't think it's going to be janky either. So somewhere in the middle, I suppose. We go first, no early ramp, but we do have 3 mana necessary for the Imperiosaur. I don't know if we can keep this, guys. It's a little bit awkward, right? There's a lot of stuff we can draw into though. What the heck, man? We go first. Let's give it a shot. Why not? Why not? We'll get a 5-4 down before the opponent takes their 3rd turn. Hello, opponent. We don't get many hellos. We make sure to drop it in return. Ruckus Theater, huh? Oh, Llanowar Elves. You're late. You're late to the party. All right, I guess turn 2 Llanowar Elves is still something, I suppose. Maybe we'll have the turn 3 Kona then. Turn 3 Kona, probably, I mean, Rakdos colors. Eee. Oh, Jund colors. There's no way Kona survived. Llanowar Elves, no, get down. No. Well, if it's Torch the Tower, if Torch the Tower is the kind of removal, then Imperiosaur might have a chance. However, guys, Jund colors, oh dear is all I gotta say. Oh, Imperiosaur sticking around. All right. They knew that it was a perfect block anyways, so hey, Lumbering Worldwagon, good stuff, dude. Really good. The opponent's tapped out, I'm just doing it now. Get it out of the way. Good swing. I love having that Worldwagon now. Yeah, it's like I said, we had a lot of stuff to draw into. Maybe it was a worthwhile keep. If we mulligan down to 6, it could have gotten worse, so. Let's see if we get to keep Imperiosaur around. I think it's okay, it's dead. but I was gonna say there's a possibility where we could crew up the Worldwagon, get Ghalta really cheap. Oh man, I wish I had an untapped source out there. Vaultborn Tyrant's gonna be the free card off the Kona. This is gonna be sick, dude. This is gonna be so cool. The Worldwagon swings, of course we take that action. Opponent's down to 10. Kona's tap. Vaultborn Tyrant. That's insane, dude. Oh my goodness. Untapped green source. Defend the Rider open to protect either of these. Holy cow. Oh my goodness, dude. What a first game. This could go either way. If the opponent pulls this back, I couldn't be more satisfied with what we were able to just pull off. But at the same time, I don't know what they could do. Oh, nowhere to run gets around to defend the Rider for sure. That's step 1 for the opponent. Yeah, gets around indestructible, gets around the hexproof because of the bottom ability, which is pretty brutal, dude. Now just generic spot removal will be able to protect the Tyrant. It doesn't look like that's what they're doing, though. Okay. They still have the Verge open. There we go. Oh, defend the rider coming in handy. Yeah, we don't want the Tyrant to get exiled by any means, first of all. Okay, Forge. They're tapped out, so they still don't have the swing. Still have a perfect block there. So let's see. Let's think about the 6 mana. Oh, wow. Imperiosaur. I was going to say, let's think about the 6 mana Ghalta, but Imperiosaur, we just end the game with the hard-hitting question then. Also, card draw too. I guess we'll play that, right? So it doesn't really matter which one we choose to fight the fear of missing out. We crew up the Worldwagon with the Imperiosaur. Hey, good game, opponent. Absolutely. We can decline here. That was insane, dude. What the heck? That was cool stuff. Oh, man. Everything really coming into play there, except the poor Ghalta, but I guess technically if we missed the Imperiosaur, maybe we would have actually played the 6 mana Ghalta. That way we could have crewed up Worldwagon and had a really good swing that turn anyways. The Tyrant getting the boost from the Imperiosaur too is really cool. Lumbering Worldwagon just being a 7/4 beast of a vehicle that was providing us with mana every turn. Tapped the Kona down. Dude, that was just cool. That was just really, really cool stuff. Let's keep the ball rolling, huh? I guess, you know, it could roll however it wants to roll. If the ball wants to roll into some losses, I'm fine. I'm fine and dandy after that game. Get protection on the Vaultborn Tyrant too. Oh, man. Okay. And see, this is where only 22 mana, like in the last game, it worked fine. But only 2 mana here. We go first again. This time we don't have Imperiosaur. Technically, we don't have Drover Grizzly too, because we might not see the 3rd. Right, I think we mulligan. We can find something better. Oh dear. Oh dear. Let's keep it. Send the Colossus. No way to cheat it onto the board, and it is very, very far away. We might have to cycle the Rex just for cycling. We might not even be able to use the ability. Oh, Imperious. Oh, thank goodness. It's a card we can play, guys. Whew. There's a lot of early things we can do in this game, so, well. And maybe I shouldn't say a lot. Or in this deck is what I meant to say there. Bird migration. So what's interesting about the Rex too is, so when you cycle it, you put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature or vehicle, gains trample and indestructible. That is a way to get around the nowhere to run -3/-3, which is actually really nice, isn't it? Okay, so we have an option here. We could keep the Rex open to play around maybe a Get Lost or something for the Imperiosaur, or we could just play Imperiosaur number 2 and get a bigger swing. And the Get Lost probably lands anyways. So I say, what's the extra damage at that point? We go for the swing, see if we can protect the Imperiosaur for the turn. It is going to be the Get Lost, and I say this is well worth it over a couple map tokens and second Imperiosaur. And we see a Defend the Rider, which is great news. Oh, we still get the map tokens. Yeah. Yeah, because it's not hexproof indestructible. It's just indestructible. So the destroy effect just doesn't destroy, but it still targets. That's awesome, dude. Oh. I clicked through. I could have activated one of the map tokens on main phase 2, right? Oopsie daisies. I apologize, guys. Leyline binding. Opponent. I don't think so, buddy. I'm thinking no, actually. That's my Imperiosaur. All right, Imperiosaur number 2 will come down. We are, unfortunately, in the area of board wipe. I guess onto this guy, right? Llanowar Elves, you are not necessarily something I want. I think we just actually want the 5th mana. Opponent down to 7. Let's see that Sunfall, buddy. Let's see that Sunfall, because we blocked them from a Get Lost and a Leyline Binding. It's a split up. Oh, we are okay. Nissa available if we don't do map token. Unfortunately, yeah, second Nissa can clean up another binding when it comes time. I think we are going to get Nissa down. Yeah, them being at 7 will get them down to 2. We are going to play the Nissa and start generating with the plus, right? Yeah, there's no reason to pick up the binding unless... Yeah, no, we just generate creatures. Worst case would be them powering up the binding, getting a bunch of lifelink. Overlord, get some chump blockers down. That's great news for them. They don't know we have a hard-hitting question, though, so that should do it. Because they only got 2 blockers. Full swing. Good game. Yeah. The opponent's dropping us GGs today, guys. That's nice. That's nice. Thank you, guys. All right. Cool. Are we getting lucky? I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's going on, guys. I'm not used to winning. No, I'm just teasing. Kind of. Kind of just teasing. Oh, man. All right, good stuff. I'm having a good time with this one. Let's keep the ball rolling. This is one of those ones, too. Yeah, we... 23 mana might be worthwhile. Figure out something to drop for the 23rd, but let's keep testing. See if the 22 is still fine. Because there is enough ramp. Some of the ramp being on 3, though. Opponent goes first this time. Let's risk it, man. Let's risk it. Those were some really good games. Let's push the deck list to its absolute limits and see what happens here. Because we might see Forest off the top. Then we might be golden. We might not be, too, because it's still a pretty slow start. Hired Claw. Oh, yeah. Ooh, Lumbering Worldwagon number 2. Oh, buddy. Oh, dear. So, yeah, this is another case for the 23rd, for sure. Emberheart Challenger. It's a good swing for turn 2. Okay, Regal Imperiosaur. There's our second mana. Are we going to see the 3rd in time? And we might skip the Worldwagon when we do. We might go right into the Imperiosaur to attempt a block. But blocking mono red's really hard. Oh, Heartfire Hero off the Challenger. We're in danger, guys. Oh no, we missed the mana. However, instant speed creature isn't gonna do too much for us, honestly. So I guess I should have mulliganed. Now we know it's very hard to keep 2 mana in this deck list, especially without Llanowar Elves. I say we get rid of one of the Worldwagons. That's totally fine. I'm pretty sure we're gonna die. We could die this turn very, very easily. Okay. Rockface Village, give haste. Last mountain could be... Wait a minute. Oh, never mind. Yeah, they didn't play a land for the turn. So we do have a chump block, which I suppose we take. We got 7. Yeah, we better take this while we can, right? Oh, we could block the... I guess we don't have to chump, but we'll still take the damage from the Heartfire here. That's a 1/1. The chump is technically a little better, I would say. But either way, I'm pretty sure we're super dead. Hey, there's the 3rd. Let's go, guys. So if we would have seen the third last turn, it still would have been pretty rough. If we saw the third on time, Regal Imperiosaur still, like, sure it blocks, but just shock our face. Yep, that makes sense to me. Ooh, another shock that definitely made sense to me. Oh my goodness. And a burst lightning. Holy cow, dude. Okay, there. Honestly, if I mulliganed, I don't know if there would have been a lot of ways out of that one, unless we got early chunky creatures, like very fast, and I'm talking a couple Llanowar Elves fast, right? At that point, Llanowar Elves, it's only a 4 of in here. It's not an 8 of, so... yeah, good stuff. From the opponent there. Just triple shock to our face. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Hey, talking double Llanowar Elves fast, huh? Let's do this, man. That's what I'm talking about. Patchwork Beastie. Llanowar Elves, all I ask is that you survive, okay? That's all I ask. All right, let's go. Ooh, third Llanowar Elves. So we could go, I guess it's Imperiosaur. We definitely have to use the extra elf mana while we have it, but also doubling down on 2 more elves for the turn could have been good. 2. They get an extra counter here, so... oh, yeah, they get an extra counter. Is that a worthwhile block, guys, or do we take 4? They'll have Delirium, because Creature Artifact will hit the grave. Patchwork Beastie will be able to block. It's not a worthwhile block. Going down to 13, scary. But Hunter's Talent is in hand. Which I suppose... now, why'd they want to do that, guys? What was that about? Oh, they could only play it that turn. I see. Okay, kind of missed that for a second. Right? Forest isn't bad. And we... Hunter's Talent the Wicker Folk. That way we're not... it's not a trade, right? They do get Delirium, but that's still worthwhile. Inti's pretty scary too, though. All right. I'm going to do this. We don't plan on attacking because we have to prepare for hasty things anyways. Actually, a double block would be crazy, man. There's no way. Maybe I do try to push us as the aggressor here. Yeah, they go ahead and take it. Okay, let's get the other Llanowar Elves down too. Because now we have chump blockers if we really need it. Or we have pretty significant ramp here if we want to activate level 2 on Hunter's Talent and get the other Imperiosaur down. Okay, second Wildfire is scary business, dude, for real. Now they're attacking with the Patchwork Beastie too. Right. We could double block the Inti. Copperland Gorge. If we double block and they have a combat trick, that's scary. We'll only have 4 mana then next turn too, so we won't have this happening. Could chump the Beastie, take 7 down to 6. Have 5 mana, Imperiosaur and Hunter's Talent. I think we're in danger. I think trying to actually push damage through could have been really bad last turn, right? Because if I would have kept Imperiosaur as a blocker, oh, I don't know, because losing that would have been pretty bad too, right? So Lumbering Worldwagon is not terrible. A little bit of, like that would trade better into the Wildfire. Extra counters from the Inti. Dude, these are some tough decisions for real. I'd rather, I guess, Imperiosaur. Now they're 6-5. At least it's something, right? I think I need to keep the chump blockers, which is pretty funny. But I think we want to keep... we're at 6, guys. all they need to do is give double strike to this Wildfire. Wildfire Wickerfolk is a very, very scary card. A Violent Urge on it to give double strike, and we're just dead. Let's see what they do with the Inti. They get rid of a Copperline Gorge. It's up to 6-5. They find a Breakout. Guys, do we risk? Wait. We'll only be able to give trample to one of these creatures next turn. This will be 5-4. We'd have to block with just one. Go down to one. And then full swing, they'll keep 2 blockers back, and they have a Breakout too for an extra blocker as well. +1. They're still at 9. We have to accept this trade. I apologize for holding you up a bit there, opponent, but some tough decisions, man. See what they see on the Breakout. This Inti has been really good for the opponent, right? Mana, nice. Nice for us, right? Because they're not continuously going wide here. So now we're not cheating anything out with the Kona, but Kona blocks pretty well here. So does the Lumbering Worldwagon if we power it up successfully. If we do go Worldwagon, still have 1 Llanowar Elves available. Power up the Hunter's Talent. 1 elf available for potential chump block, right? But then having Hunter's Talent ready to go for next turn. Still play more from hand. Actually, that doesn't... I probably should have kept the chump blocker. It doesn't matter too much, because we still could have activated level 2 next turn and still got Kona down on the same turn to power up the Worldwagon. Oh, fear of missing out. Okay, let's see what they see. Inti. It's mana. That's good news for us. I guess they can play the mana, though, so that gives them 3 open, 2 in hand. Beastie doesn't have haste. That's a lot of chump blockers, though. They do go full swing. Let's see what they see on the Inti. They discard an Inti. I'm on the edge of my seat, dude. They see a scout here. Okay, and it looks like... Oh, Patchwork Beastie has trample now, too. Oh. Oh, going down to 1's so scary, but... Is that okay? I mean, that's realistic. I mean, we could go Imperiosaur into the Beastie, right? See, they got 2 chump blockers. We're only going to be able to give trample to one of these things, which is Lumbering Worldwagon. I don't think we're getting out of this, guys. I might be significantly missing some plays here. Maybe I should be accepting some of these trades. First of all, this Inti has been brutal stuff, so... Yeah, we can't tap Imperiosaur. We could have tapped Imperiosaur to block with the Worldwagon, but then we wouldn't have been able to block with the Imperiosaur, so nothing fancy like that. Yeah, just more chump blockers for the opponent too is rough business. They go ahead, send the Patchwork Beastie here. All right, well, let's see what we see. Ooh, Agonasaur Rex. That's interesting. Trample Indestructible for 3. But then how do we end up... We'd have Kona. We'd only have 2 available. So how would we end up... So I guess we could... Crap. Crap, guys. This is rough. Fear of missing out is going to be swinging next turn, too. That's going to go ahead and untap one thing. I apologize, opponent. I'm thinking a lot of combat math to think about here. So it's got to be Kona. It's too bad we're 1 mana short from the cycle, right? Kona. Power up Worldwagon with the Kona. And then we're forcing a block There's really not a whole lot we can do here. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we die next turn. Even with the free Agonasaur, we'll have 4 creatures on the board. No, we won't. Worldwagon won't be able to get powered up. Yeah, I think we're dead. I think we go for the fun swing. Actually, full swing, right? Yep, totally fine. Totally fine. We give Trample to the Worldwagon. Take that action for sure. Yeah, if we had 1 more mana available, we would have, well, we wouldn't have swung with the Llanowar Elves, first of all. We would have had Agonasaur Rex to give Trample. It's cool, man. It's really cool. But yeah, we wouldn't have been able... We're only at 1. And we wouldn't have been able to actually power up the Worldwagon and have enough blockers to block wide there. Alright, so the block is the one that they end up untapping, and we drop them the GGs for sure. That was good stuff. Inti, wow. Inti providing so much value that game, for real. So when I removed something earlier with the Hunter's Talent, maybe I should have removed the Inti instead. Was it established on the board already? Kind of forget right now. That's one to go back and watch, though. There's a lot going on. All right, let's keep the ball rolling. One more game. One more. Win or lose. I'm satisfied, dude. I think the deck list showcased itself beautifully. I'm very happy with what we were able to do here. All right, opponent, what you bringing to the table, buddy? Uh-oh, here's another hand where we only got 2 in the opener. This time, though, I'm not going to risk it. All right. I'm going to send... Man, hard-hitting question. Extra removal in that last game would have really come in handy. I'm going to send the Rex, unfortunately, mainly because it's what we're furthest from, but we're not that far because we plan on ramping with the Worldwagon anyways, but yeah, we'll see. Right now, what the deck list is showcasing is a lot doesn't happen until you're actually on turn 3, and that's really important, and that's another reason to consider the 23 mana over 22. I don't really know what I want to drop for the 23rd yet, though, because I don't want to drop a hard-hitting question or something that's just going to come in handy way too often. Maybe, maybe one of our other vehicles, right? The one of. Well, if it's a counterspell, I guess either one's pretty valuable to us. I'm going to try Lumbering Worldwagon. If it's a counterspell, it is what it is. If it lands, we get some ramp, get 1 step closer to the Vivien we just drew. It lands. That's really good news, man. Good news on a lot of aspects here. That might just mean they just don't have counterspells in their hand at all. So getting a Vivien down would be crazy. White source over there, though, I suppose it could be like Esper Control, and they needed a white source for their main counterspell. That's very possible. So Vivien coming down on this turn. I mean, obviously that could be great, but it could also just be Regal Imperiosaur. 2 open still, gets around some counters. They would have countered Worldwagon, I'm pretty sure. Nah, we'll just, no, okay, I talked myself into the Regal Imperiosaur. I'd rather this get countered than the Vivien at this point. And again, playing around a counterspell that might not even exist in the opponent's hand. All right, let's try to swing. See, seeing all this mana, well, first of all, before the swing, we might as well play Ghalta, right? Because if it's Fancy Pants removal that waits until our creature's tapped or attacking or something like that, then we want to play this before anything else. That's pretty cool, man. Get some ramp. I'm down. See what they do here. Wow. Holy cow, dude. I mean, the opponent's got something, right? Entity tracker. Oh. We might not have to worry about board wipes and counter spells. This might be Esper Pixie. Oh no, opponent. Oh no. I think Esper Pixie just saw nothing. Oh dear, right? First 2 turns not playing anything from Esper Pixie. That's actually, I mean, we don't know realistically what the opponent was playing. They only played 1 card. Look at this lineup. Look at these big green creatures just slamming onto the board, man. Cool stuff. I wish we would have actually been able to play Vivien that game too. I guess if it was a control matchup, it would have went on for a little bit longer. At that point, yeah. Yeah, I guess it was about to be their 4th turn, which could have been board wipe turn, and Lumbering Worldwagon would have stuck around. We didn't have a creature in hand yet, but Vivien could have found us one, so end of video pack. Let's do it, guys. All right. Bloomburrow. Darkstar Augur. That might be my 4th one now. Guys, did I go over the YouTube stuff? The YouTube nonsense? Did I? Did I? Or was that the last video? I don't know, man. You know what? I'll just say it again just in case. Down in the description, we do have that Discord link and that Patreon link too, if you're interested in joining either of those up and supporting the channel that way. Also, guys, if you liked the video, make sure you actually drop it a like. And if you enjoy the channel, then consider subscribing as well. All of that really does help out the channel. So thank you, guys. And I apologize if I'm repeating myself. Lumbering Kona. This was cool, man. This was really cool. It was a suggestion down in the comments. Thank you again for the suggestion. The suggestion was talking a lot about Lumbering Worldwagon and all the different cool things that it can actually do. And Drover Grizzly was also in the suggestion too. Only making the cut as a 2 of, and I do think that that's about right. I do. I was thinking drop the Thunderous Velocipede for the 23rd mana, but Thunderous Velocipede here really would have come in handy against that Gruul matchup, right? A 5/5 trample would have been crazy because we were having trouble giving trample to the Imperiosaur anyways. And then also, so first of all, I didn't go over this at the beginning of the video. So each other vehicle and creature you control enters with an additional +1/+1 counter on it if its mana value 4 or less. So cards like Regal Imperiosaur would enter with an additional +1/+1 counter. Otherwise, it enters with 3 additional +1/+1 counters on it. So any of our top end creatures, right? The Rex would enter with an extra 3. Vaultborn Tyrant, the Darksteel, the Ghalta. How necessary is this? I don't know. I don't know. I think as far as necessity goes, it's the fact that it's a vehicle. It's the fact that we can crew this up with our 1/1 pilot from Defend the Rider and stuff like that, right? So do we need the 23rd? We really, like, when we needed mana, we saw the mana. That's the problem. That's like the... that's what I'm caught up on. You know what I mean? Like, we saw it, but are we always going to see it? I don't know. There's a big issue with not seeing Llanowar Elves early game. And then that other issue where when you do see it, the opponent removes it before you can actually tap it to get to your 3rd. I think we need 23. I do. And Drover Grizzly might also be the cut as well to get to 23 and then go up a Thunderous Velocipede. What that does mean is less creatures to actually crew up Worldwagon. And you guys saw in that last game, if we were up against control, less creatures would have been incredibly detrimental after a board wipe, not being able to power up Worldwagon, seeing a Drover Grizzly off the top. Nah, I can't drop it. If we drop Drover Grizzly, we got to go up another creature that can actually power up the Worldwagon. At that point, it really fits the build because if you're not powering it up, you're powering up the Worldwagon with something else. You can saddle the Drover Grizzly, which I guess is now nicknamed Grover. That's funny, man. Anyways, You could still saddle this up. That's another way to give trample to the Lumbering Worldwagon, which is very important. We saw how important giving trample is. Drover Grizzly would have given trample to all of our creatures in that Gruul matchup too, meaning the Imperiosaurs would have been incredibly good. That would have been so excellent if we would have actually been able to establish it, though. And I don't know what establishing it on the board would have looked like while also trying to maintain the opponent's aggression too. So there's a lot to consider there. Hunter's Talent really liked this as a 2 of. Level 2 is going to really, really come in handy. Nissa. We had a 5-mana Nissa, so we never got the -7, but don't forget the -7 also gives trample. That's really important, man. I don't think I can stress that enough. So Nissa has that -1, destroying an artifact or enchantment. That's going to be so good right now, dude. There's so many enchantments. There's so many artifacts. We're seeing a lot more Synthesizer. Caretaker's Talent still floating about. You know what? I am seeing a lot of Urabrask too, which is funny. Urabrask Forge, of course. But so we got the -1 on that, but then also Vivien Reid has the -3, destroy artifact, enchantment, or creature with flying. And guess what? We're actually seeing a lot of flying creatures too, so a lot of utility between our planeswalkers. I love that we can cheat the planeswalkers onto the board with the Kona. I know one thing for certain. I'm keeping all 4 Kona, keeping all 4 Lumbering Worldwagons. Those are definitely not changing. Outside of that, just having the awesome dinos that work really well together. Regal Imperiosaur, 2 Rex, 2 Tyrants, 2 Ghaltas. Really like that too. So some other cards we could consider dropping is Darksteel Colossus for another top-end creature. Make sure it's a top-end creature, like a 3rd Tyrant, which I don't have, right? I would consider that for sure. I really want the 23rd mana, guys. I just don't know what to drop. And I think it's probably Thunderous Velocipede. It's a mythic too, which is pretty brutal. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make the change. But just note that I'm making the change because, you know, first of all, if you don't have the Velocipede, that's a mythic that you don't got to worry about now, right? But that's something to talk about here too. Is this one to put on the do not craft list? That's tough, man. That's tough because it's not that bad, right? Llanowar Elves, outside of the Fancy Pants version, this should just be common. Then uncommon for hard hitting, uncommon for defend, uncommon for Hunter's Talent. Drover Grizzly, just a common, that's nice. Worldwagon's rare, Imperiosaur's rare, Kona's rare, Oviya is rare, Rex is rare, Mythic for Vivien, Mythic for Nissa, Mythic for Vaultborn Tyrant, Mythic for Colossus, and rare on Ghalta. This is a very expensive deck list, isn't it? I'd say it definitely belongs on the craft a little bit less based on your collection because there's a lot of other top-end creatures you could try out instead. There's even budget-friendly options of top-end creatures that you could try. There's some things that would be pretty hard to trade out, like the Kona and the Lumbering Worldwagon, right? But if you only had 3 Worldwagon, I could see still trying it and just packing in some other stuff based on your collection. If you only have 3 Kona, I could also see just trying it. Don't forget, this is a legendary creature. It's a main build around, but it is legendary. So there are going to be moments where you see 3 of them in your hand and you're just like, well, crap. There's other moments too where you see 3 of them and you're like, haha, take that, mono black. You keep removing my Kona, I keep playing a Kona. So sometimes it's okay to see multiples, especially when it's a build around legendary, right? So like I was saying, there's a lot of other top end creatures, even budget friendly options that you could try out on the top end. For example here, look at this little worm buddy. 7 mana, 7/7 trample. When it enters, gain 7 life. When this creature dies, draw a card. Actually really like this guy, man. He's just an uncommon from Foundations. So if you don't have Vaultborn Tyrant, there's your 7 mana card, I guess, right? Honestly, it's like 7 life is no joke, and then 7/7 trample is still pretty good too. And then when the opponent ends up removing it, it replaces itself. It's a good budget trade-in, I would say. There's other good budget trade-ins too, some dinos as well. Let me see here if you want more cards draw, because Vaultborn Tyrant is a big part of the cards draw in this deck list. There's also this Earthshaker Dreadmaw, 6 mana, 6/6 trample. When it enters, draw a card for each dinosaur. It might not draw you too many cards, but at least there's still a small dinosaur theme packed in too. So a lot of cards to consider here. Base it on your collection for sure. Craft a little less based on collection. That's the list it belongs on, because outside of that, it was just really fun, wasn't it? I do like that we went up the 23rd. You guys will have to let me know if that was a good decision or not. I do think it was a good decision, though, because usually if you're missing Llanowar Elves, no matter what, you're going to want to see your third on time. That's for sure. So, yeah. All right, guys. If you made it this far into the video for real, y'all are champions. Let me know what you thought of the deck list down in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed it as much as I did, because this was really cool, dude. I really, really liked this one. So, all right. Enough rambling, huh? I will see you in the next video.